Hello. It is me, Eli, again, doing another bad idea, as I want to do. Now, if you are subscribed to Mr. Plague of Gripes for cartoons, don't worry, I will continue doing that, of course. Just ever so often, once in a blue moon, ramp up their music. Hell yeah, okay. Every once in a blue moon, I will do a Let's Play. I do this very infrequently. I'm doing Elden Ring specifically because I have 2, maybe 3, I think 2, very lengthy Let's Plays of Dark Souls 1, and some incredibly janky Dark Souls 2 videos that you should not pay any attention to because I made those back in the day before I had a career. So don't worry about those. Let's start a new game. I've done almost nothing with this program so far. I have gotten to this screen and nothing else. And I know that the PC release, which I am unfortunately playing upon, is known to be very unstable right now. So I could make it about 2 minutes into this video and have everything collapse. I have no idea. I also don't really know anything about my choices here. Does he have a... Oh, right. Wait, no, I was about to say is... What's going on with the Prophet? Because he looks like he's supposed to be a prisoner. But he's a well, I'm not going to question it. Prisoner? Jesus Christ. Okay. So, first and foremost, I don't really know anything at all about the lore of this game. I have no idea what's going on. I stipulate that because the reason why that I made the Dark Souls 1 LP originally was to go over the entirety of the lore. It's almost like a director's commentary of Dark Souls 1, even though I didn't make it, in a sense. Where I go around looking at all the environments, talking to all the characters. Goodness. Handsome boy and girl. And just doing what I'm doing now, and just looking at the screen and then talking about it. The value of this is up to you to determine, because I'm extremely analytical. In real life, I'm not long-winded, but in my videos, I am. So I will talk more about that in the future. Just for the time being, I have no idea what's going on. So even in regard to these classes, I am tempted to even start rambling about what their clothing could even mean, but I will not do that. I will restrain myself for the time being, because I'm a good boy. Okay, show status. Ah, so this is how you see their stats. Okay. I did do a little bit of research beforehand as far as which class I would be running, because I don't know what build I'll be running. I am aware that in the network test, strength did factor into your equip load, which I liked. I thought that was sort of a good idea. They could use some tweaking. But they backed out of that, and now it is 100% tied to endurance again, I think. So that kind of killed some of my ideas. Because originally I was going to try to run like a strength faith build. Now I don't really know. Because I will tell you my thoughts. And by the way, this is going to be not an episode 1, but more of an episode 0. Because this will be mainly this, and me going over the character creator. And just sharing some very general thoughts. Also, I'm doing this on the day after the Elden Ring release day. And let me tell you, historically, a few things have happened. Both in terms of global politics and in my personal life. This has not been a good month. It's not been a good past 3 or 4 months. People have died. Things have been lost. And incomes have been obliterated. So, not the best moods. Also, I'm a little bit fuzzy in my brain right now. Possibly because of sicknesses that I've warned other people about, but they like to bring home, even though I'm vaccinated. But that's another story. Alright. But for the time being, let's just examine our classes here. As far as the stats go, I'm thinking, don't worry. Vigor covers health, Mind covers your FP, the amount of magic points that you can use, which does factor in the weapon arts. But if you're using like a physical class, in theory that shouldn't really matter too much. Endurance is going to be stamina, which will probably matter for everyone. Although, based on the network test, whenever I was watching the network test, I don't know if this is true anymore. But it seemed like stamina regeneration was so absurdly fast because we're coming off the heels of Dark Souls 3, that it may end up being almost inconsequential. Usually, having an intense amount of stamina is incredibly vital in most of these games. But time will tell. And endurance, I'm not quite sure what endurance does besides equip load. I can't remember if endurance was inside of the tests or not. I think it was. So it probably does two things, and I don't think I'm allowed to actually... Explanation? Ho ho ho! Giving health points. Also stuff you don't care about. Focus. Stamina I always love the descriptions of these, because FromSoft doesn't really do a good job of explaining themselves, and it's up to everyone else to data mine the games to be able to figure things out. This attribute determines how heavy your equipment can be. That's fine. Also affects robustness. That doesn't mean anything at all. So don't ask me what robustness means. I don't know. So it does control stamina and robustness. Then what's this? That's FP. Oh, wait, no. Yeah. Okay, yeah, what am I talking about? So, health points, FP, stamina, and robust. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely going to be maxed out on everyone. Which is so weird. Because if everyone always maxes out stamina. But if this also controls your equip load, then wouldn't everyone be running nothing but the heaviest gear all the time? There's probably going to be some sort of weird restriction, but that would mean, if that was the case, then that would mean that all strength builds would have these giant heavy hammers, or whatever, which would be absurdly heavy. Which would mean that you would have less weight to use on armor, so it seems like all strength builds then would be almost near naked. Which would be in stark contrast to what it should be, which should be dexterity builds having the slow amount of armor, or the low amount of armor. I guess time will tell, I don't know. Strength, of course, strength now does nothing. Like, strength raises the number on strength damage. That's the only thing it does. Dexterity, however, gets an absurd amount of benefits, as I recall. You get dex scaling on weapons. You get, let's see, reduced spell casting time, which has been a thing since... It has been a thing since Dark Souls 1. It's just that in Dark Souls 1 it barely affected anything. Especially Faith. Softens fall damage as well. Makes it harder to be knocked off your horse. I guess if you're very strong, that strength on a horse means that you get knocked off easier. I don't know. Dexterity just has to be everything because they love dexterity. Alright, intelligence, of course. Yeah, it just scales with intelligence, damage abilities, magic power. I did briefly look through some of the spells, sort of. I didn't see what they did, really. I just looked at what their stat lines were. There are a few things that scale with Arcane, and I think they go up to about 11 or so. Usually. I think some go up to like 15. I can't remember offhand. But for my purposes, I don't really quite know what I want to do as far as classes go. Okay, because here are my thoughts. And if you don't like, this is what the whole LP is going to be. If you don't like me lingering on one thought. Here are my thoughts on classes. Doing a first playthrough. The first playthrough in a Souls game is going to be very disposable because Souls games are very, very cryptic. So as a result, I anticipate missing an absurd amount of things. Like character plot lines, out of the window. There's no way I'm going to get all of them, because FromSoft. Items, I'm going to miss a lot of them. Even ones that I could go back and pick up, some of them may just end up vanishing for no good reason. I'm sure that in the process of losing character quests, I will also lose items. So the first character is going to be one that I'm probably going to delete right off the bat. But in this case, since it's an LP, and this is going to be my first reaction to everything, which I've never done before, I guess I'll just have to treat it that way. So, I have a choice between strength build, dexterity build, quality build, faith, or like magic, miracles, which I think are called, I can't remember. Incantations, I think, in this game. And in Dark Souls 1, you could also do something like create an incredibly high stamina and vigor build, but then give yourself like a Chaos Zweihander, for maximum damage. But I'm not sure if something like that even exists in this game yet, so I can't build around that. Also, Arcane may have scaling with very, very specific things, but I can't rely on that, so I'm not going to start with Arcane. Also, thoughts on the magic system. Everyone in every single one of these games always says, oh no, they fixed magic, it's good now. And sometimes it is true. Like in Dark Souls 2 especially, magic is good. In Dark Souls 1 even, magic is good in certain circumstances. Dark beat ahoy. But those things require you actually maxing out your character. Or knowing where very, very specific things are at very specific points in time, and knowing exactly how to get to them as fast as possible. So those are more like second, third playthrough things. So to that end, I don't think I'm going to be focusing on magic as a first playthrough. Because it's very unwise, because if you know anything about Souls games, whenever you actually start out doing anything magic related, your build is absolute garbage. And you have basically no scaling whatsoever until you get to very, very late game. It's a problem that the Souls games have always had, and this is FromSoft we're talking about, so I don't put any faith in their ability to actually fix that problem. By the way, in case I sound harsh, it's not that I'm harsh, I'm very even. And especially now, this is one of my concerns about doing an LP of this on release. A lot of people are in the honeymoon stage with this game. I never really get honeymoon stage with anything that comes out. Not that I'm so much better than you, but you get the idea. So a lot of people are going to be irrationally defensive about this. So to that end, if you feel like I'm being unfairly harsh about the game in some way, I'm trying not to be, but also be aware that you might be unfairly positive towards the game for no good reason. That is something that we all have to sort of look at. And that will depend from person to person. Just, be aware of it. That's all. But yeah, just experience with FromSoft, I don't think that they're actually going to fix that. That's more something that other people making similar games would do. So that leaves quality, strength, and dexterity. Quality would be the most wise choice, but probably the most boring. Because with a quality build, you could probably try out all sorts of different things. But it's just quality. You'll probably not have the scaling to be able to try out strength weapons at their highest damage or dexterity weapons at their highest damage. You'll be exclusively locked probably to quality weapons. Which does matter if I want to do something like try more hyper armor focused builds. Which I would like to do because I'm very interested to see what they've done with both poise and hyper armor. And poise I think is being tied exclusively to your endurance now. And as I've said, that might mean that absolutely everyone has max endurance, so maximum equipment load on everyone. So maybe everyone will have poise eventually. I have no idea. Maybe everyone's just going to be running the equivalent of Havels. God, I hope Havels isn't in this game. It's such an ugly piece of armor. I know some people like it, but whatever. Okay. So let me tell you, if you remember me talking about this in my Dark Souls playthrough, my favorite kind of build, which has never been supported in any of these games, is the idea of sort of a utility-focused spellcaster that is still mainly focused on like strength for the most part. Or more just like a heavy hitting weapons guy that also can do things like cast a little light spell, or cure himself of poison, or use a very specific spell that, like homeward or something, that takes you back to where you were. You know, just some sort of utility spell that has nothing to do with damage at all. But they always give those spells insanely high requirements for a build that would actually utilize them, so you end up having to waste, like, sometimes up to 10 levels just trying to gain access to them. Which, again, has always been a FromSoft issue. But looking at some of the requirements of some of those spells early, I did notice that the requirements seemed a little bit lower than they otherwise would have been in some of the prior games. So that might be something that I can do. I don't think I checked the intelligence requirements, only the faith requirements. So to the end... Low. And people have already created optimization spreadsheets to try to figure out what the best build would be for everyone. Prophet certainly has enough faith. Samurai, prisoner, goes confessor. Really, I think it will come down to whatever has the lowest amount of intelligence. Because I'm a dummy. Or I could be what I could be what FromSoft expects people to do, and just look at how cool I think the clothing looks, and then use whatever cool clothing that you actually want. Which, most people that are actually Souls veterans, no one plays the games like that. No one does that. Everyone optimizes. In Dark Souls 1, almost everyone used the Bandit class, unless you were doing something more specific in regards usually to spells. I can't remember what it was in 2. 2 also had that problem. In 3 it was cranked up to the max, and almost every single build that you could run, all were optimized by using Knight. In this game, I don't know if that's still the case, so it could be that there is one specific one that is the best one. But I think I'm going to default to Hero. I think. Everyone's going to need Vigor. I don't know about Strength. I might end up rolling that. I could end up deciding on Dex. I don't know. How about the next 20 minutes of this is just me scrolling through the character sheets, looking at the stats and not being decisive? How about that? Because again, I haven't decided on this, and I'm going to have the same problem in regards to making my character too. It's going to be a lot of that. Okay, I've decided. And mentally, remind myself in the future, go back, fast forward through all that. I've decided on Vagabond. And you know why? Because I think the armor is sort of neat looking. And it has somewhat equalized stats on the bottom half of the screen. And that's pretty much it. Choose a body type. This is... I was about to question why don't they just call it male and female, because you might get confused by this, especially since it fades out the screen. That is kind of progressive of them, because it doesn't necessarily mean male or female these days. And of course, back whenever I was raised as a young lad in the 1990s, people would be very confused by that decision. These days makes much more sense. So probably... yeah, type A. Okay, type A. I will eventually make pretty ladies, though. That's for sure. Oh, and you can just... well, why do they... oh, okay. Well, that's unusual. You get a body type. Oh, it even changes your posture? No, it doesn't. Okay, it's just I was looking at the breathing animation, and every time I do that, it resets. It's my little dance. Sorry. Okay. So you can either make yourself a big buff man or a slender man. Alright, I'm a horrible slender man. You may not know this. In real life, I'm like 5'11 and 170 pounds. I'm very gangly. So, and also I'm extremely old. Not that old. I am mature. How about that? Oh, and you can change it here too. Oh. Well, they should have just went to this screen. Oh my goodness. So much eyeshadow. Such an angry young man. Okay, well, that's interesting. Keepsake. Ah, yes, you always get to pick one cute little item please let there be a master key of some sort. Increases max HP. Lands between... Hold on. I have not mentioned this. I don't think. But in my Dark Souls 1 LPs that I'm talking about, I had already played through the game, and I knew a great deal about it. Part of the LP, the point of the LP, was that I was actually relearning the game and learning more about the lore as I was playing it, which is what this will sort of be, but the difference is that I have no idea what's going on at all. So as a result, I'm going to suck playing this. I will not be any good, and I will have no idea what's going on, and I will have no idea what anything means. So, for anyone that is watching this 5 years from now, I'm sorry. But that's how it has to be. A medallion inlaid with crimson has increased magic. So medallion, a rune, a seed, ashes. Boy, am I tired of hearing about ashes in Souls games. Crackpot, stone sword key. Ooh, key. I like the sound of that. Bewitching branch, boiled prawn, and Shabriri's woe. Shabriri. I don't know. All right. The Golden Grace because use the game many words. Okay, so runes I think are the level up. They're the souls of this game. So this is just something you can start and pop, and you gain a little bit of souls. So that sounds kind of useless. Probably useful for very specific kinds of runs, maybe. Golden Seed, watch your sword from lands between. Set the reinforced sacred flasks. These... That's interesting, because this sounds like an Estus flask shard. So something to increase the power of your flask that you use to heal yourself. But these are limited in all the other games. So if you're able to just select one and actually miss out on it, there's no way that you would be able to just miss out on it completely. So either this is being pulled from a later point in the game and being given to you here, in which case that item drop somewhere, wherever that is, will actually be something completely different, or golden seeds are something that you can farm and will eventually max out, but will have some other use later on. Which would sound, this does sound interesting, but this sounds like something to maybe avoid. This is something that you'd be able to max out anyways. Ashes of small diminutive golems. That sounds cute. Ashes are said to hold spirits within. This does not explain anything to me. I don't know what this is. They hold spirits inside of them. Maybe some sort of disposable item that acts like a spell? I don't know. Because spirits is not really a mechanic, but whatever. Alright, so that might be something to come back to just because I don't know what it is. 3 strange cracked pots that somehow mend themselves. A container for certain thrown items. I do know what this is. In this game, this is something I really wish they had done in the past. In the prior games, you could just walk around with like 99 of an item. Dark Souls 2 was especially bad about this with the life gems. The cracked pot is actually a throwable item that has nothing in it. But supposedly you can actually craft things and put it inside the pot. And this is essentially acting like the maximum limit for you to carry items with you at any one time. This is not the best iteration of this idea. I actually like the idea of more of you can have 99 in your stockpile, but whenever you leave your bonfire or its equivalent, you just leave with, like, say, 9 of one item max. Like, you have a maximum of everything. So this is, like, one step removed from that idea, though. It could be better, but, you know, this is a fairly good solution. Again, I would prefer my method, but whatever. And the text is just wrapping right out of the box on this one. That is excellent. Like to see it. 2 stone keys, shaped like swords. Breaks the seal on imp statues, but can only be used once. That sounds like a Pharaoh's Lockstone. Or a branch of yore, or something like that. So it would be specific items that are out in the world, or specific locations, that you could use this on and allow you to unlock whatever they happen to be. That might be useful, but I don't know where it would be used. So I don't know how committed I am to that idea. I do know that the number, because it seems like I heard this in release, I might be mistaken, but I heard that these were limited. There were only a specific amount of them that you could actually obtain. So this might be the same thing as this golden seed situation, where maybe it's something that otherwise would be located out in the world, and that drop is either now missing, or it has been replaced with something else more generic. Bewitching Branch. 5. Count 'em, 5 secret branches charged with beguiling... Whenever I read charged, I thought it meant like charged, like you are charged with a duty. So like branches, you give beguiling power, okay? Alright, we'll do it, boss. Sorry, that's not funny, it just being stupid. Charged with beguiling power. They have beguiling power. Said to originate from the demigod Miquella. Alright, I'll completely forget your name in the future, I'm sorry. Even in real life, I'm really bad at remembering names. Which is bad for someone that's purporting to be observing lore information, isn't it? It is, it's very bad. So I probably won't remember that. But 5 branches charged with beguiling power. This sounds like the usable branches in 3 that allow you to use Chameleon. So just a generic consumable item that I can probably buy later on. 5 pieces of boiled prawn. Delicious. Boost physical damage negation. Ugh, I don't like the sound of that. That sounds like a consumable item that you'll be expected to use during PvP or something. Any item that's just like raises your numbers, has no drawbacks. That always makes me cringe. Because I expect them to become some sort of ridiculous mandatory thing that everyone ends up using. I hope that's not the case though. That is a very cute... Do I have my mouse cursor? Yes. That is a very cute icon though. That little bitty prawn. Who knew they were so nutritious? Be sure to eat its poop shoot. That's in there too. And wow, the text on this is going crazy. The crazed likeness of a noble whose eyes have been gouged out. Alright. Attracts enemies' aggression. So, skulls. Or... What were they in Demon Souls? Stinky soul bits. That's what they were called. That's not what they were called at all. Alright. So we've gone over all these and now know exactly what they all do. Except we don't. So... This sounds like a ring. So like the Tiny Bing's ring. So this will be next to useless. Because it says it increases maximum HP, which is actually very useful. But usually on these beginning items, the number is so incredibly tiny that you may as well just throw it in the trash. Also, let me say, I hope with this game, I don't even know if this game has rings. It could just be medallions, or it could be nothing, I don't know. I hope that they do not have +1 and +2 variants. I got so sick of that in 2 and 3. I hate it whenever they do that. Just give me the ring and have that be it. Dark Souls 1 style. Baby. The Gold of Grace. Alright, consumable item. Something I might be able to obtain later. This, I still have no idea what this is. It's probably the most useless item, but I'm almost tempted to get it because otherwise I have no idea what it does. I might just actually look it up. Hold on. Let me use my phone. My shitty prepaid phone that AT&T sent me and told me that I better start using because they were shutting off my other phone, which was super cool of them. You gonna work? Fanged Imp Ashes. Elden Ring.
This came back from a search.
Cool. It instead looked for Phantomopathius, which is a bunch of nonsense terms. That is radical. You know what? I love modern technology. I might be 39 years old because I was born in 1982. That might be the case. I'm fairly aware of technical matters. Not the greatest technician that's ever lived. FP calls it has a... Oh, it's like a... Oh, it's a summon. It summons 2 Fanged Imps. See, this is one of my problems with FromSoft. They don't tell you anything. Which, I don't even mean like lore, because because FromSoft is famous for this, but I mean like just basic technical things within the game. They just don't tell you what things do. Okay, so this is just a basic summon that you can use at the start of the game. I don't know how summons work. This could have stat requirements. I don't think it does. I did not check to see if it was consumable, but that is interesting. Container for certain thrown items. These will probably be farmable later. Very tempted to get those. I'm not sure what exactly the imp statues do yet. I think I will get the little summons. Or the pots. Container for certain thrown items. I probably won't use those too much, so I'll get the golems. I'll give them a nice home. How about that? Now let's call myself Gripes. I feel like I started with the name Plague back in like the Star Siege games because I got my name from being annoying. Whenever I was being taught how to PvP in that game by someone, he said, I don't remember who it was, he said that I was very irritating. What the fuck? Oh, you can't change the type B actually does give you tits, which is fantastic, but kind of against the thematics of what I was going for with my character. I do appreciate that they allow you to do that though. So it actually lets you keep the more stereotypical whatever, however you want to call it. I forgot what the term is. More standard, like normalized male face, but it will allow you to still keep the female appearance. That's interesting. So you can actually begin with sort of a female face, more stereotypical female face, and then switch your body over to a male body, and use that as sort of a base type for you to edit yourself a pretty anime character. That would probably be a pretty good way of going about it. Okay. Anyways, detailed appearance. This is very important. I hope you're prepared for me to do this for a very long time. Oh, come on. My body's not that bad. Does it really get this bad? Then again, maybe they're right. Whoops. Young Voice 1. Where's the sample? Who doesn't do that, though? No, none of these voices, anytime I have to do this, none of them ever sound like me. Because I have such a weird voice. Like, I don't have the weirdest voice on YouTube or anything. There are other people that... Like, a good example, I'm not being disparaging, but there's a YouTuber you should check out called Nightmind, and he does mainly, like, reviews, evaluations, and stuff of the narrative of horror-themed web series, which sounds very specific, but it's not that specific. He also did some like cool reviews of those old Adult Swim shorts, like unedited footage of a bear. I would recommend watching that, because that's really cool. Because he goes into really obscene detail in those videos. This house has people in it, and I don't remember if he ever did one with Too Many Cooks, but there was another one besides that one. But he goes into a lot of detail. He has a good channel, but he has a very distinct voice. And whenever you hear him not doing the sort of perform pieces in YouTube, because whenever we do YouTube videos, we all tend to have our YouTube voice. Like with me, I'm doing more of a performative voice right now. But if I just start talking, I just sound like this. I get very muttery. I sound like that whenever I stop doing my performance. I get very muttery, and I just sort of... and I sound like that. Because I'm a nerd. But we have very distinct voices, so it's very hard to replicate them. And that's not my voice. I know, right? Also note that all these are male. So I wonder if these are locked by the time that you actually pick your A or B at the start. It might also be determined by your body type. That one's really sad. If you want more amazing content like this, then, get prepared, baby. This will be in episode 0, though, since so much of this is just nothing. I don't know, none of them really. I would say that probably the one that sounds the most like me would probably be Mature Voice 2 or Aged Voice 1. Probably Aged Voice 1. You might actually disagree with me, I don't know. But I don't care. Ugh. Oh my god. Ooh. But I've said this before in the past. This is not like a... Well, I'll take that back. There are some people in the world that almost have this exact sort of skin color. Actually, the thing that I think about whenever I see this is actually people that use hockey in One Piece. Because their skin becomes this hardened black that has a real sheen on it. But I've said in the past that I actually have always thought this looked pretty cool as a character design thing. Now, I'm not factoring in political, cultural ramifications, whatever. But just the general idea of this pure sort of black sheen is pretty neat in its own way. Pure blistering white, not so much. Not so much that. This would be a very unhealthy individual. Poor powder. Okay. Now, in real life, I'm not very pink exactly. I guess probably something more like that. Although it depends on how much sun I'm getting, which usually the answer to that question is none. None at all. And I do want to hurry up and get through this so that I can actually start my part 1. Because after I start my part 1, probably something more like that. So after I start part 1 and get through some of the area, I will be able to start a second character that I can actually spend more offline time goofing about with. And also bear in mind, I'll probably mention this again in the future. Let me back up for a second. Face and hair, body. What's the difference? Yeah, I guess I'll do body first. Since this, the old Dark Souls LPs took me over a year to get done. Just because they're very long, they involve me talking a lot, going over information. So it's going to be a long time before it's done. So there's no possible way that it's going to be a first reaction the whole way through. So at some point, I will go over my progress and start experiencing things ahead of time. That will inevitably happen. There's no possible way for me to rush through this game. Not the way that I am. So be prepared for that. Does it still... Yes, okay. This button takes it up by increments of 10. That's nice. I have a big head in real life, because I'm a weird freak. Also, I have a weirdly, large chest cavity, but only from the side. I have a very strange body. Oh, wait. Oh, it does affect it. Oh, it does do that still, okay. Interesting. Now, since I'm getting up there in age, even though I'm thin, my body tries its best to be like, you want to be fat though, right? And I'm like, no. Come on, you want to be fat. No, oh, this also controls it. Makes sense though. They don't want you to be too horrifying. And actually, since I work at a desk all day, my arm size varies wildly. My body loves to consume my muscle mass as quickly as it possibly can. So I'll have brief periods where I work out a lot, and then I start looking kind of sharp. And then after about a week, it's just gone. It just evaporates into nothing. So my arms always go through this phase of like looking either like this or looking like this. There's almost never an in between. So maybe I should just keep it right smack dab in the center. Legs, however, legs have always been weirdly developed for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. So even though I just sit on a desk all day, I'll still have pretty good legs. But all the same, it's gonna look too weird otherwise. So maybe we'll just keep it. Yeah, let's keep it in nice round numbers. I like round numbers. Having that 0 on the end is very nice. Also, I have a horrifying amount of body hair. Thankfully, actually I have way more body hair than this guy has. On my chest, though. That's the thing, I should stipulate that, because that makes me sound like I'm a fucking Yeti. I have a large amount of chest hair. I don't know why. I guess because I am a horrible, horrible beast. Holy shit. Wow, that's quite the variation, isn't it? Goodness. Man, that reduces my age by a considerable amount. I'm jacked as fuck, sir. That looks good. But I will save that for my future character, who will be that much sexier. Okay. Now, more importantly... Now, FromSoft has improved their character creators very slightly over the years. Demon Souls was terrible. Dark Souls 1 was terrible. Dark Souls 2's was useful for making horrifying abominations, but still terrible. And Dark Souls 3 was also terrible. Dark Souls 3, you can tell that they were just... The body shape of your character in 3 makes no sense. That is not what a human being looks like. The faces were somewhat okay, but they were clearly just ripping whatever they made for Bloodborne, and Bloodborne has the exact same body types because everyone had to fit into these exaggerated, long, flowing, cool-looking outfits that cover all your body anyways. So this is the first game where they seem to be actually creating human beings. Face template. Ah. Oh. Oh. This will be expansive. So I can probably get away with quite a lot in this particular game. So this controls mainly bone structure. Although it looks like this is made like... Okay, yes, these seem to be more modeling you towards being able to sort of bridge the gap between genders, I guess, if you so choose. Because they create this... Warframe kind of does this too, where you can actually blend faces together. So they take two different meshes and they combine them and find the... they sort of interpolate the two states into something that's new, which gives you a little bit more leeway into being able to do whatever it is that you want to do with the character. Okay, so this emphasizes whatever it is. So I wonder what happens whenever I do that, and then switch to one of these. Oh, it still controls the same thing. So the form emphasis is more focused on whatever your settings are within the rest of the menus. As far as what I look like as far as my apparent age goes, it varies wildly on the day. Because whenever I wake up, I feel like I look like I'm in my 60s. But as the day goes on, for some reason my skin smooths out very dramatically. And depending on the light, it sounds like I'm making a lot of excuses. Depending on the light, I'm fucking hot as shit, bitch. Depending on the lighting, I have really smooth skin and I look like I'm in my 20s still. Which, whenever I was back in my 20s, people commented that I still look like I was a teenager. So I've always looked pretty young for my age. Although that has calmed down a bit over time. Okay, I'm trying to even out... Let me look at all this first. Do they have my hair? This is important. bald. And also, for some reason, I've always noticed this with character creators, the head is always way too high. And this one is not quite as bad, but in a lot of games, I guess as a way to sort of mitigate the way that they have to deal with the hair, the cranium is like a little bit too tall, and it seems to be the case here too. But it's not that bad, I guess. Okay, so they have lots of short hair. Ah, here we go. The anime hair. That no one in... Well, it's not that exaggerated. I was about to say that no one actually in reality has hair like this. It's not that bad. It could be much worse. But these are focused on making sure that you have the most handsome VTubery boy that you can possibly make. Unfortunately for me, my days of having incredibly luxurious mop hair, which I did used to have, are unfortunately long gone. And I'm actually also looking to see if any of these... Not that it matters for my purposes. Why do they always insist on including this hairstyle? Some NPC in the game probably has this. Like, so far, this would be the only hair that I would think of that would be, like, conventionally, African, or just someone that has, like, really tight curly hair, which sometimes you see that with other races as well, of course. But not many are outside of the scope of looking like pretty straight hair. There are a few that sort of have a little bit of curl to them, but they do seem to be more focused on one specific look. And looks like they also include the female hairs too, just in case you want to be strongman but also beautiful, just like this. What a beautiful lad I am. So these are just straight up just going into... Alright, so there's actually not that many hairstyles in the first place. Also, wow, but have you seen this back hair? Fortunately, my back does not do this. But you can even see, like, the mesh, like, is extending. So whenever I hit the sunlight, you will probably be able to see my little bristly back hairs. Ew. Okay. Anyways. Hope you're enjoying the sound of my voice. I'm enjoying the sound of yours, because I can't hear it. This, don't have that. So again, as with most games, they don't have my Captain Picard hair that I have, where I'm like balding, but in such a way that it doesn't, that I looked a little bit more respectable than I ordinarily would if I was just straight up balding like a, where's an example? Like this guy. Like this guy's balding, and it does not look great. My hair does not do this, thank goodness. That would be most unfortunate. Yeah, I feel bad for the, like, more people that want the, I guess, I hate to say it this way, but, you know, the ethnic, quote-unquote, choices. Basically, just anything that isn't stereotypically Caucasian or Asian, basically. Which kind of sucks. I also have some characters that I want to make later on that would make use of hair like that. Oh well. That's how it goes with FromSoft games too. This hair is ridiculous. This actually is how my hair used to look back in, back whenever I was playing basketball, I guess. Because you couldn't afford to have a big mop of hair. It just got way too sweaty and hot. So I used to look like this. And I hate to just walk around with the stereotypical bald look again. Maybe I will give myself a nice head of hair. Hey, it's Elden Ring. I'd probably use magic or some dumb bullshit to get myself hair. And this actually is basically what my hair color is, which is kind of strange. I did not expect that. Is there anything that's even remotely... Huh, I wonder why they defaulted to such a hair color. Because their primary audience that they're pretty much going to be designing for is going to be Japanese, so you'd think that their default would be some sort of very light black. Like something like more like these colors down here. Maybe to avoid the connotation that it's ordinary, to encourage people to pick something else. Maybe that. Yeah, this is a bit more like my color, I guess. It's very close, the default, though. Ooh, luster, you say? Oh, that's luster? I always wonder what luster was. Apparently it's a bird shit in your hair. Oh, wait. I see now. That shine, I had to move around. I'm sorry. I thought it was bird shit. I'm sorry. If you have bird shit in your hair, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make fun of your bird shit. My hair's shiny, but it's not that shiny. Because fuck me. Root darkness? I guess... I don't really... Like, I understand what root darkness is, but in terms of making a video game, I don't quite understand what the distinction is. I guess it's just a way for you to very slightly alter the saturation and darkness values of your hair without actually having to pick another one, in case one of their swatches is a little bit close, but not that close. And white hair? Whoa! That's a lot of white hair. Now, I actually do have some white hair. My father was in the hospital last month, and he, of course, he couldn't shave, and he always shaved, just out of habit, I guess. But he managed to grow out a beard at the very end, and he actually looked pretty good on him. And he sort of had white hair that was like on the sides, but not on the mustache or the chin, which is sort of an interesting pattern. So I kind of wonder if maybe one day in the far future my hair will do the same sort of deal. Yeah, I think the default looks pretty good. I don't actually have that many visible white hairs. It just sort of... It does sort of just give it this sort of luster look, I guess, but only on my beard. Yeah, I'll raise it up some. Why not? Okay. See, I find that making character creator, just making things in character creators is a lot of fun. You may not agree, but you, sir or ma'am, are wrong. Because it is. Pores? I can't tell what happened. Yeah, I have no idea. Skin luster? Presume this will make me oily. Which actually, I do not do that at all in real life. Well, except for, the body is weird because, like, my nose will get that way. But nothing else. And dark circles. Oh, so that is... Usually you had to do this with makeup in all the other games. Kind of surprised they allow this. Or they give you this option. Man, you can go in hard, too. Holy shit. This is a man that hasn't slept in 40 centuries. That's unfortunate. Now, I do have a little bit of that going on. It's not that bad, though. I really played up... If you've ever been surprised what I actually look like... Because I really love to play up in my art that I'm a creepy guy that looks like a murderer. Because that's, that was funny at the time. Not so much now as I've gotten older. But I actually don't look that way. As hilarious as that might be. Oh, you can even pick the color. Let's turn this all the way up, though, for a split second so I can actually see this. Oh, okay. So you can actually... That's the reason why it goes up so high. So for something like this, you would actually want to pick something that has saturation to it, but actually matches your skin tone. So you would have to pick something that had, like, oranges or reds in it. But all these are so... Like, it's at the highest value it is now. So it would have to be something like this or this. Although I could probably take this. Whoop. Then, take it down a little bit. Even that has way too much red in it, though. Yeah. They actually don't have... They don't have any swatches that actually match skin tone this way. There's no way to actually control this. So that's probably the reason why their default was this weird green. Or no, actually, I think it was... I can't remember what it was now. I think it was this. Yeah, I think it was that one. Because that does look like a little bit like bruising, I suppose. Keep it there. Then let's move around. Probably more like that, actually. But then just lessen it a little bit. Now, if for some reason you're watching this, and at this point don't know who I am and don't normally watch my content, you have the patience of a saint, my friend. You are amazing. But if you don't know, I'm an artist, of course. Which, otherwise, why would you be watching this? So, if you're wondering, why is he spending so much time on the character? This is how I think. So, that actually looks alright. I found like this little purple swatch actually gives you a little bit of that sort of, a little bit of that redness while still also focusing more on the darkness of it. So that's about right. Alright, eyes. My eye color. I actually get a lot of compliments on my eyes. I always have. Which I never quite understood because I'm like, I just have black eyes. What are you talking about? But especially as I've gotten older, I've noticed that the color actually shows up a little bit better. I have these sort of... There's no way I can make this. But I have like these really dark brown eyes that have a little bit of green to them in a way. That whenever light hits them, they... For whatever their reason, they shine quite a bit. So they actually look like they're very light brown. But only in very specific parts. I don't know what the hell does that. And even me describing it makes me sound like, oh, my eye was so beautiful. No, it's just, it's weird. That's more what I'm trying to focus on. It's just very strange. I'm not sure what exactly creates the conditions for that. Maybe everyone's eyes do that, and I just don't notice. Because I don't look deeply into people's beautiful pools of light as I should. Clouding. Right eye clouding? Whoa. Huh. Interesting. Clouding color. White color. Whoa, you can even control... Oh, they never let you do this before! This is the stuff you can tell that I don't really get excited about things very often. I'm just not very reactive person. But the fact that you can do this, because one of the things that I love to do in my drawings is give a little bit of saturation value. Never give your... Like if you're drawing something and you are drawing eyes, don't just make it pure white. Don't make it gray either. Always have a little bit of saturation in there. And usually, you would think it would be like a little bit of light pink or orange, because of, you know, there's blood vessels and stuff in there, right? Actually, usually it's more blue. Because for some reason, a very, very light blue with a sort of a high saturation value but incredibly high brightness value really makes it look more white than it ordinarily would, and gives it a little bit of that saturation value so that you can actually really bring out the color of the pupil. Size, wow, you can do all sorts of shit. It's fucking crazy. Okay. Eyelash. I'm controlling the things that matter the least. And I have incredibly long eyelashes in real life, for God knows what reason. Although these are only the top eyelashes, so the standard probably is the correct choice here. And I think anything besides black would stand out too much. Don't want to do facial hair yet, because that will cover up too much. Brows don't look like this at all. I better change the brow color first. It's not matching the hair, though. Huh. Oh, it is. It's just that it's not doing it very well. Wow, none of these have very good saturation, do they? These are all pretty bad. Even the black is, like, very light for whatever reason. That's very unusual. What if I change the... Maybe this is probably what's happening. It's matching this luster value and stuff. Yeah, that's what's happening. The fact that it has these luster values and the root darkness values is actually causing it to be lighter or darker than it should be. And especially the white hair value. That's probably what's causing a lot of it. There we go. Okay, so that's black now. Actually, no, it's still on match value. There we go. Okay, okay. That's still particularly light. But it's not as bad as it was. I'm going to have to pick something slightly different. And actually, Dark Souls 3 especially had this problem. The lighting values in the engine that you're using whenever you're creating the character do not match what your character actually looks like in-game, which is always a very big irritation for me. Whenever I was younger, and this is the reason why I drew myself this way, I had resting bitch face, where I looked like I was angry all the time. Although these days, since I've gotten older, my brows have started sloping more, or my eyebrows have started sloping more, so actually it's been described to me that I look like I'm sad all the time now, instead of angry, which is an interesting change, because it used to be that I was just pissed off on the rig, but now I'm just sad. And the plague of sadness. Usually, I actually do have a mirror that I use specifically whenever I am, like, doing animation or something, or I need to draw a very expressive face. I'll use that to, like, look into the mirror and do the face that I want, and then draw that. Okay, there we go. But sometimes it don't work. And also it's gotten very dirty because I don't use it that much. Okay, now we get into the real shit. Now there is actually a correct and wrong way to do this. Usually you want to start with this overall balance and try to get it to something that is a little bit intermediate. Don't try to fix everything all at once. But try to get it somewhat close. That way you won't have to do too many changes. Because the more changes that you actually have to do, the more the game, whatever the engine happens to be, has to try to combine that with all the other values that you're controlling, which will create problems in the future. Like right here, I'm actually tempted to like flatten out the face a little bit more. But if I do that, it's going to go a little bit too haywire. So I'll just move that up a bit. Yeah, it's looking more like me. More like my horrible, horrible face. My horrible, beautiful face. Now, if you're like me, you're probably used to, so used to looking at your face in a mirror that you can do this without actually looking at yourself, for the most part. Because you know all your little faults and everything. Can't do both at the same time. I'm gonna have to control that with brow. But there is also the other problem, and I do have a very low... This is as low as it's gonna go. You might have the opposite problem. And always be sure to check both angles. The eyes really need to go in. That's for sure. You might have the opposite problem where you have a complete misunderstanding of your own face. And you're just completely wrong in every way. And you don't look the way that you think at all. Which is also very common. Wow, you can really... It gets super aggressive on these lower ones. Gonna have to be very careful. Okay. Now that we've done that... Oh, see, these don't actually have that much of an impact, so we're actually a little bit safe on this. So yeah, this is a pretty good character creator. They've definitely improved over time. Come on, it's not that intense. Change this back up. Move this up. And I encourage you at home to make your own character, as I'm making mine. Which one of us will finish first? Is you. You will definitely finish first. Because I take way too much time trying to do these. And because this is the first time I've actually used this particular... Ooh. This is the first... Hold on. Wow. Oh, that's rough. You can make some real horror shows in this one again. I didn't know if they were going to rein that in or not. They did not. Since this is the first time I've used this particular character creator, this will probably be the worst one that I've ever made. Or I will ever make. And I do have fairly big eyes. Not that big, though. I'm not an alien. Not yet. No matter how badly I wish it to be. Man, I really wish I was an AI construct. Like you could transfer my brain into an AI. I really want that. I want to see us travel the stars and for us to not have stupid wars about nothing. Just because of one man's insecurity over having an incredibly tiny penis. That would be lovely if we could just have a world like that. But unfortunately, most of history is dictated by angry white men with tiny penises trying to ensure that the world knows that they totally don't have a tiny penis. But, you know, there's only so much that can be done. And here I'm going to have to make the nose bigger than it should be, because I'm trying to extend it down to some degree. Also, why you can't move it over? What's going on with the character creator here? Oh, now it works. That was weird. For some bizarre reason. Huh. Weird. For some bizarre reason, my nose was clipping out of the frame, or most of my face was. I'm gonna do a lot of even values on this. Like, I've got a big old Caucasian schnoz, but it's not that bad. It's still not quite right. There must be different value. Yeah, nostril value. Okay. Alright, that's where a lot of problems were coming from. Also from that initial mesh value. That's also something that's controlling a lot of this. Because the upper bone of my nose doesn't do that either. I actually have a very sloped nose. A very pretty nose. A very pretty cat. That's a TNG reference. Like, see, for example... Was it this? No, it's this. No? Oh, wait, I forgot. There's a upper value. Here we go. Form emphasis. No. Is this one? Yeah, it was this one. Like, see, now that we've done this, we're actually getting a slightly different look on all our little meshes that we can go over and use. So actually, this is a bit more like me in terms of my bone structure. Although now it does not... Although now it doesn't look like me anymore, really. So I'm gonna have to go back. They actually don't... They don't have eye values, do they? They don't have, like, eye meshes. So you're just stuck looking like that. Yeah, might actually have to go back to the other one. I haven't done the cheeks or the lips or the mouth or so on, but a lot of what I look like is going to be determined by the eyes. Which, honestly, which one looks the most like me? In terms of eyes, probably actually like a combination of this one and this one, but I don't have that option. But my skin also looks... My skin, again, looks like a combination of 1 and 5. which is kind of strange. Maybe I'll try out 5 for a while. See what happens. Because I can actually... Skin features. Yes, there we go. This needs to actually go down on this particular mesh. It's not that exaggerated. This mesh seems to come with its own amount of dark under circles on the eyes, which is interesting. Okay. Let's do a little bit of cheekbone action. I have very strange cheekbones, I've noticed. There is something that my brother's wife said one time, that she was instantly able to recognize someone from our family because they have the family cheekbones, which at the time I didn't quite understand. But as time has gone on, I'm like, oh yeah, we do have, like... We don't have sharp cheeks. Like, it's hard to describe. Like, I do have sort of sharp cheek features, but at the same time, my face is, like, rounded enough that you almost don't see them. Yeah, sort of like that, I guess. Yeah, that's probably more like it. Probably need to fix these lips, though. This is getting out of control, buddy. And here it's doing that thing again. There's something about moving the camera around in this character creator where it gets the coordinates screwed up and it starts misconstruing where they need to be. Also, this dude has a severe overbite. Lip size. Oh. Really, I think one of the best methods of doing character creation is to... Actually, goes with a drawing, too. This is something that I've said in some of my drawing videos. I have the philosophy of draw what you know first. So if you're, like, drafting something... If you are drafting something and you don't quite know... Like, you're drawing a pose, like some crazy pose. And you're like... I don't know... Like, you start drawing it and you're like, oh, the head's too big, the limbs are too small, I'm occupying too much space on the canvas, and just all these, like, drawing problems. Even if you don't understand what I'm talking about, that is something that happens quite a lot. Ugh. It helps to draw exactly what you know. Like, if you know for a fact that the hand needs to be in this exact position, or you know for a fact that the eyes will be looking in this exact way, draw that first. Man, this guy is super sour. Holy shit. Can't believe how unhappy he is. For some reason, I have noticed this on Japanese character creators. They always have, like, severe problems with the chin and, like, underbites or overbites. Like, they never give enough length to the actual chin. So you always end up having to fight their settings in that regard. I think it's because their faces, you know what I mean, tend to be more almond-shaped in a way. So you're sort of like fighting the mesh because it's trying to control the vertices in such a way that it's pointing them in the wrong direction. Now you notice that I have the mouth expression set to really happy. Because otherwise, holy shit, he is so sour. You're stuck on lemon drop too hard. Otherwise, he's just super, super sour. So sometimes, this is usually the result of the, that is usually the result of the, mesh over time becoming so ingrained with the other vertices that you've been editing that the values become too exaggerated. Which is why I said that at the beginning you should try to pick intermediate values. Otherwise you run into that exact problem. Like the nose has also become a little bit too wonky at this point. Even in the process of like doing this, if you're editing it and you realize, oh, that makes it look super screwed up, it's better to, instead of picking, like if it's on a 180 and you adjust it too much and you're like, oh, that looks terrible, don't go back to 180 and then confirm it. It's better, it's safer to like just cancel out of it entirely, because sometimes it will like screw up the mesh, and those changes will be like permanent for whatever reason. The thing I actually want to control is the nose again. No slant. The nose, for some, they really don't like the idea of me controlling the nose. I'm trying to get the position. Yeah, the nose tip is getting a little bit too... Oh, there's where a lot of it's coming from. Slant. I guess that's it. This is the only way of controlling that. So if that's the case, I'm going to have to like do it this way. Sometimes this will come up. You probably haven't been watching the screen, but sometimes you'll be editing things and you'll get to this point... Let me go back. You'll get to this point where almost nothing in the character creator is altering your face in such a way that it actually gets to the point where you need it to be. But there's one thing that does. In this case, it's this nostril slant setting. And I want it to be like down here. But it's controlling so many things around the face that I'm going to have to like go in and alter the values of a ton of other things to be able to get it to actually behave itself. Which is shitty. Don't much care for it. Nose is a little bit too big, though. I like 125. Again, I think this is a combination of me recognizing my face a little bit too much and also remembering what I used to look like a little bit too much. Then again, this is like a younger version of me. The eyes don't look like me at all, though. It's part of what bothers me about it. Just a little bit like it, though. Let me check the... So, whenever you finish... I don't know if I'm finished yet, because I'm me. But whenever you're finished, it's actually a good idea to go back into your global values and adjust them just a little bit, because it's sort of like doing cleanup on a drawing. Like, say you've done a charcoal drawing in real life or something. You have to go in and like clean up your edges, get all the material, like lift off all the extraneous material and things like that. This is sort of like that. What you're actually doing is like going in and trying to take all those sort of extraneous values and get them back to those midpoints. And actually the thing that... I never did the jaw, did I? No, I didn't. That's probably where a lot of my problem was coming from. I forgot about the jaw entirely. But the final thing that you want to do is actually go in, since FromSoft always gives you this feature, is go in and, if you can, create a very, very similar face. Because the process of actually giving you a similar face will like autocorrect a lot of things. That's what it looks like now. These are a little bit too exaggerated. And I think every time that you back out, it creates new ones. This is a good way of sort of fixing lots of minor issues, though. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, that fixes some of the issues I was having. Okay, and facial hair might have to elongate my jaw, though. Wow, okay. This is the big test with facial hair. FromSoft is terrible with facial hair. So here we have clean-shaven, a little bit of grit, that's fine. Caveman beard, so already we jumped way too high into exaggerations. Mutton chops, which no one in real life actually typically has. There are a few people, but not very many. Or like mutton chops or mutton chops with mustache. I forget what that style is called. And a little bit more of a grizzled look. Goatee. Just patch. Mustache. Weird Abraham Lincoln face. Another mustache. That's... Oh, okay, just goatee. Then wait, what's the difference between... Oh, well, that's like a Freddie Mercury almost sort of look. Whereas this is just straight up just huge mustache. And then, like... then almost a normal beard. FromSoft and most other companies have this problem where anytime they make hair, especially facial hair, but just hair in general, instead of giving you actual things that people look like, they will give you extreme exaggerations of them. You'll have, like, this, like nothing, a little bit of nothing, then caveman beard, then a bunch of stupid meme styles for you to make your hilarious Twitch character that you're going to be using. And then there will be, like, one that is very specific to the people that made it. Like, if the game is made in Japan, there's going to be a lot of, like, no one has this hairstyle except for, like, specifically their ethnicity, very specifically their nation. Like, they'll do that sometimes. I've seen that also in, like, European games. And then you'll have a couple of those, mostly meme things, and then you'll have, like, this, where there's, like, one that's almost normal. But for some reason, there are no normal beards. And this is true for this game, too. Check it out. This is as normal as you get, and even this is a little bit too unkempt, a little bit too long. Like, my beard sometimes gets this bad, but it's never that bad. What is the stubble control? If... Nothing, really. Okay. So whenever you actually have a full beard, this doesn't really do anything. Alright. Let's lower the luster. Because my beard is actually way more red than this. Doesn't need to be that much luster. Root darkness. Let me actually increase the white darkness. The white hair setting is really the one that's going the most out of control. Okay, and then my chair. Let's go down here. Hope you guys are enjoying this. You're not? Okay, this is the one. Alright. I actually had to pick a slightly different swatch, I think. Alright, there we go. And that's sort of me. Sort of. Let me look at one again. Aww. Doesn't look like me at all. Actually, none of these really look like me now. It's the eyes. Like, the eyes control so much, and they all look exactly the same. What happens if I control the form emphasis? Like, for some reason doing this makes my eyes look a little bit more normal. Very strange. Character creators always do very strange things if you give them the chance to. Facial aesthetic. Yeah, it's funny how being feminine means that you have a big fat face. Why? The true peak female form. Amazing. Okay. Very odd. Okay. Well, so the character creator in Elden Ring is alright. It's not perfect, though. Surely there's got to be left eye position, right eye position. Wait, how come it doesn't... Oh, that's how they're doing it. Since the default is just controlling both of them, it only gives you one option, which is peculiar, but understandable. That's an okay-ish way of handling it, I guess. And all the left positions are down here. Okay. That is a very interesting way of doing it. Usually they would just have a lock or something, like a little lock symbol next to it. I really don't like the intense line creases that they give on the eye on this mesh, but there's nothing that I can do about it. Alright, I'm watercolor. No, it should be... Oh. Oh. I see. Well, how come it's not black? Huh, it almost completely ignores the, You'd have to, like, pick a gray. Yeah. Even then, it's still retaining a lot of saturation. Where's that saturation coming from if this is completely gray? Maybe it's coming from the, It's either coming from this, the lower eye color. No. It must be coming from the circles that I added much earlier on. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that it would have that intense of a reaction. And this shouldn't have any blush to them, really. Well, 10. Make me slightly pretty. And I've always hated the overemphasis on lips. Like, if you notice in my drawings, I never have lipstick on characters. Let's do that, and then lower it. It's not quite good at preserving it. Everything in Elden Ring, maybe it's because the environment's going to be so focused on lighting, so maybe that's what's going on. But yeah, this sort of looks like me whenever I was about 28 years old. A little bit. The eyes are off because the eyes on this mesh have those intense crow's feet, and there's no way of getting rid of that. I do not have that. But there's nothing that you can do about it. Let's look at... I'm not going to use any tattoos, but let's take a look at them. I always appreciate whenever they have scars. Oh, they just have like a mole in case you have like a really pronounced something or other. And that's pretty neat. I do have sort of a weird little... It's not a mole. It's like this weird patched like raised skin that's almost completely unnoticeable. And it's like on... It's sort of on my brow line in a weird way. And it's gone away over time, so it's almost completely absent one or the other. Yeah, these aren't too bad. I'm not a tattoo guy, though. Tweak tattoo mark? Oh, right. You're tweaking the tattoo mark. Eye patch? Really? Even a blindfold. Interesting. I hope that you can actually change things like this after you have gone in. I've heard stories, rumors, that you can actually change every element of your character after you have started the game. Which I don't believe because it's a FromSoft game, but if they do, then good on them. That would be a very stark improvement, because there was never a reason to disallow that. Also, something else that I hope that they have done is... I'm pretty much done here. Something else that I hope that they have done is allow the ability to reroll your stats an infinite amount of times. Because they've always done this like soul vessel system that I hate. There is no reason why you shouldn't be able to just do that whenever you want to. Maybe not like out in the field, but, you know, just at a bonfire or a stopping point of some sort. There's no reason to prevent people from doing that. To be able to use one character and then just try different builds. Like, that's ridiculous. I've never understood their obsession with doing that. Alright, well, I'll probably change this quite a bit in the future because it isn't quite right, but I'll save it to a favorite for now. And there we have it. My horrible Part 0 of Elden Ring. My first impressions. Now, normally, in an LP, I would have already had that prepared and just briefly gone over all the information on how to do such things. And then after that, like, gone right into the game. But you get the shitty version. Are you happy? Yes. Great. Alright, so after doing all that work on my face, this is what it looked like now. Can't even see it. Amazing. Simply amazing. Alright. So there we are. This is Part 0. For the actual Part 1, we'll be starting here and then jumping right into the game itself. And that will be my first experience with the game. So I hope you have enjoyed me looking at this character creation screen for an hour and a half. Oh my god. Oh well, this is what the entire LP is going to be like. Hope you're ready for it. I'll probably upload this and Part 1 on the same day. Although the internet has been for me, like, the reason why this was not earlier is because of the fact that my internet had lost its mind over the past 2 days and was actually being, like, stolen by, I think, a VPN service or something. So I'm going to have to go into, like, all the computers on my LAN, because this is used by other people, and even, like, in other houses, and try to check everyone's computers and see what in the world's going on, because I had to download this in the middle of the night because that's when the internet stopped being choked out. Otherwise, I was downloading it like 100 kilobytes per second for the past 2 days. So it just so happened to get done just like an hour ago. Or excuse me, an hour and a half ago, excuse me. I started recording almost the same moment that it finished downloading. So, sorry for all the stuff that is surely going to happen around this LP, but get ready because it's going to be a Play Your Gripe style LP. Alright, see you guys in Part 1. Bye-bye. Ooh.